looking for a mic check here. Sorry, guys. Okay. Just be good now. What's up, high horses? How's everybody doing today? Is everybody doing today? This is Dr. Juan, Director of Training, coming at you guys live this week. Today is Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. We've got Bennett out today, so I am from the home studio right now, guys. We're talking about terpenes today, everybody, following up on the deep dive that we've been going into, within ourselves and trying to discover exactly all the things that we need to learn foundationally as a company, right? As the mission of being the best trained bud tenders here in the country and the world. There's no reason we can't get there. And when we keep hitting it every single week, diving into what we know, how we know it, and how to apply it, guys, there's no reason we can't get there again. And that's what today's all about. Taking some of the feedback from our training evaluation form, it was a really awesome thing that Bennett was able to go one-on-one with each and every single one of you by this point, and we can really evaluate and address our current pulse on the company, on where we're at, as far as, hey, do we know our endocannabinoid system? What do we know when it comes to not only dosage forms, but how to apply it to specific situations? And not only that, but do we actually know our products, our categories, and how they're used and how they work in the body? I understand it's a lot to put together, and I understand that many of our team got to being onboarded without us getting to fully integrate. So that's been what we've been trying to make sure that we hammer down on, and we get everybody caught up to speed, hitting the same drum. And geez, I think that feedback has been absolutely phenomenal, guys, from those one-on-ones. And a big shout out to Bennett Castro, our Assistant Director of Training there, who has taken, really that time to go talk to each and every single one of you guys. I hope you guys realize how special that is, that she is able to do that, and that she really does care about her job and the impact that she's making with each and every single one of you. That's from the heart for sure, and you don't get that anywhere else. So it's something I think you guys should be really proud of here within your own company. Anyways, coming out of the feedback with that, guys, two big haymakers: extraction processes as well as terpenes. Some of the biggest things that everybody wanted to continue to learn on. Before we even finished, right, the training evaluation forms, we already realized that extractions were going to be one of those big ones. So as you can tell, last week, the week before last, I think we actually went really deep into extractions, and we'll continue to go back into it. We're going to get a little bit more hands-on here in the future and plan to go forward with it. But the other one that we hadn't even hit yet at all, in our first 11 episodes, terpenes. So everybody's been talking about terpenes. The world of terpenes goes incredibly deep. And it's interesting, right? Terpenes from, actually are one of the world's biggest waste to product breakthroughs, right? Think about millions of pounds of like orange peels. Where do those go? Usually in the trash. Well, no more landfills and things like that. Those are actually been going into cleaning agents, for long periods of times. And terpenes are, botanically derived, right? The aromatic compounds that we continue to attribute to being some of the unsung heroes of our cannabis experiences, guys. And one of the most often questioned points of contention when it comes to cannabis, and one of the least understood. And for how little we understand it, there is still so much to know. But, all the foundational stuff, there's no reason that we cannot fully hit on that. So that's what I'm going to hit with you guys today. We're going to go over this and break it down into multiple different ways. And then on top of that, for our internal team, guys, we're going to be going through our exercise of memory pegging a little bit later down the episode today, and talking about how do we really digest this and make it, that much more applicable, even when we sit here and see, oh man, these are a lot of big words. This could be challenging. This is hard to remember. Maybe haven't been sitting there having to do memorization in years, right? High school was a long time ago, and all of a sudden we're being applied with these, scientific terms to do so. Well, we'll be going over the concept of memory pegging, or again, attributing it to something absolutely ridiculous to help you, scientifically be able to retain that. And again, we're just following the deep data and wanting to be a little more visual as well, guys, because I think we should pretty much understand for sure that that was one of the things that came out of our last feedback as well as we wanted a little bit more visual knowledge, visually engaging ways. Well, on top of that, guys, we will give you the visualizations as some common terpenes on the screen here, right? Green onions, pine trees, lemons, lavender plants, right? Lots of visualizations. And on top of that, we want to tap into our inner ability to create visualizations, and memory pecking is going to come in real handy to help us go ahead and apply that, guys. So, as you see, common terpenes right here on the screen in front of me right now, right? Terpenes and terpenoids, what are they? Well, plant chemicals found diversely in the plant kingdom, including cannabis, right? These are compounds that give cannabis its aroma and provide to the many distinctions in therapeutic effects in various strains, or more technically, chemovars. Chemovars meaning chemical varieties of cannabis. We call them strains, right? That's a scientific word. Anyways, the term terpenoids is different than the term terpenes. The term terpenoids, guys, refers to the compounds that contain oxygen, while terpenes contain only carbon and hydrogen, hydrocarbons, right? But collectively, most people refer to the entire class of compounds as terpenes. Anyways, right? Where else do you find terpenes? Terpene compounds convey insect repellent, anti-fedant, and other beneficial properties to the plant. So again, right where we're trying to, be able to grow and survive as living organisms, terpenes are part of the plant's adaptation to be able to repel or grow in other ways. And on top of that, right, we've started to understand the medicinal powers of them. We've been using them as cleaning agents, so on and so forth, and many different ways. And guys, you can be cannabis, you can be exposed to terpenes in many different ways. Obviously via inhalation and smoke, and just even smelling the buds can literally be inhaled and have quick, highly absorbable, penetrable effects that hit the central nervous system, such as, right, one of the common effects that we probably discussed a little bit, using black pepper under the nose as a terpene, caryophyllene, to mellow down some of the extreme effects from THC and the psychoactive part, right? So if you're incredibly high or whatever that description may be to you, if you've overdone it with THC, caryophyllene, right? The aroma under the nose almost quite instantly can really tame that. That's because of the terpenes, right? Again, we'll go over the details on that here in this episode. Hope you guys are learning. So we see those terpenes there. And we'll go over them kind of one by one, guys. We're going to go over the top 5 most common terpenes in cannabis, but think about it. If you've ever smelled cannabis that may smell such as, right, lemongrass or pine, even lavender, lemon, or clove, I guarantee when you can sit there and try to actually think about it, you're going to notice that different aromas come from those cannabis plants, and we're going to be kind of trying to identify those. Again, those different aromas do have different effects, and we're going to be talking about them here a little differently. And it's now, hopefully start building that association between, hey, can you correlate the odor with how they would affect, the person or yourself, even just by sniffing the bud, so on and so forth, and hopefully through memory pegging, and then eventually getting to that point where you get the actual sense, right? All of a sudden, it's going to bring those visualization memory techniques into just absolute fruition. We'll be ready to go. So, terpenes, guys, difference between terpenes and terpenoids. Terpenes are the hydrocarbon, the carbon and the hydrogen as we talked about, while terpenoids do contain oxygen. Terpenes in the actual plant's life help to deter herbivores, attract pollinators, so on and so forth. They've actually got roles in the development and the lifespan of the plant. And common ones. So we're going to talk about, first one, limonene. Put this on the screen here. That's pinene. That's linalool. Caryophyllene, myrcene, limonene. Therapeutic effects: antidepressant, antioxidants, flavors, lemon part, citrus rind. Also found in lemons and juniper oranges. A little bit more about limonene, right, guys? Uplifting effects that have to do with limonene. So there's going to be one of the important things here that we talk about is matching, right, either those uplifting effects of the terpenes or the sedating effects of the terpenes to, what the user's preference might be. And where maybe we mix up a little bit of those effects between indica and sativa, like sure, indica, couch, sativa is the upper, right? Where is it actually that maybe it's actually the terpenes, right? Like linalool that is more uplifting and myrcene that's more sedating. And where can we start identifying that and applying that and remembering it on the spot with our customers, right? So that's where we're gonna have to just go through it, take our time, try to remember it. This isn't that you're gonna remember this just right now, but it's gonna take time. So we'll apply it. You got it right here. Limonene, therapeutic effects, antioxidant, antidepressant. What does it smell like? Lemon, tart, citrus rind, also found in lemons and junipers and oranges. All around, guys. So cool deal. Put this back. All right, so what's the next terpene that we're going to talk about? We're talking about the top 5 terpenes, most common terpenes in cannabis. So again, there's going to be some terpenes that don't get covered. All right, so next one, myrcene. Myrcene, most common, terpene found in cannabis. Therapeutic effects, pain relief and sedative flavors, earthy, fruity, musky. Also found in things like lemongrass, thyme, and mango. So again, where lemongrass also has limonene, also has some myrcene, but therapeutic effects coming from the myrcene, pain relief, and sedative. Big contrast there between limonene, upper, myrcene, downer. Very, very worth remembering. Flavors of the myrcene, earthy, fruity, musky. Cool, so let's move on to the next one. Limonene, guys. Therapeutic effects, antimicrobial, anti-anxiety, flavors, pinene and resinous, also found in pinene. Other one there, pinene also has a role in alertness and memory. Right, guys, as I shared the cheat sheet with our bud tenders last night. We're talking about some of the therapeutic effects of pinene, alertness, memory retention, counteracting some of the THC effects of the bronchodilator, right? Interesting there. So, we've got another upper in that regard. We're not talking upper like meth, but, something to consider where cannabis and short-term memory loss may be something that somebody wants to prevent. Well, where can something like alertness, added alertness, and memory retention with the therapeutic effects of pinene perhaps counteract that and help somebody work at the top of their mental game versus hitting something with maybe too much myrcene that might make them sedated when they need to be alert. All good things to think about. And so again, guys, my high horse stampede, make sure you refer to that cheat sheet of the top 5 common terpenes in cannabis for the full deep dive on it and the full references. We got it for you. Want to make sure that you have them in your pocket at all times. So next one, linalool, guys. Talking about linalool and the therapeutic effects, sedative, anti-anxiety. So how do we differentiate between linalool and limonene, right? Everybody's gonna have their different tricks. I'll show you guys the memory pegs. Won't play with that. Anyways, linalool, therapeutic effects, calming, anti-anxiety, sedative, pain relief, anti-epileptic. Typical scents, floral, lavender, slightly citrus. So again, between limonene and linalool, limonene obviously has got that really, lemon in the name basically, even though it's with an I. Well, linalool, I don't know if that can help you relate it to lavender any better, right? But that's what we're trying to do is, that's the one that you would really associate with coming from the lavender. I think a lot of people do, if you can at least associate that, You think if you sleep with lavender by your pillow, you're going to get a better night's sleep and things like that. Maybe that's a little bit easier and already in your pre-existing knowledge base. So somewhere we can connect that with little, already thinking about sedative, anti-anxiety effects, in the places that you find it: candy, spicy, floral, citrus, but different from limonene. And last one of the top 5, guys, we're talking about top five, caryophyllene. Therapeutic benefits: anti-anxiety, gastroprotective. Caryophyllene found in black pepper. Also a little bit of stress relief and may help with alcohol withdrawal symptoms. Caryophyllene also has effect on that CB2 receptor, which is exactly why it helps to mitigate those effects of THC. You know what affects the CB2 receptors? My team, my butt tenders, you guys, we know it. CBD. And what does CBD do? Helps to take down those effects, those super psychoactive effects of THC that people don't want. So again, where caryophyllene and CBD, have very parallel and similar effects, those are great ways to help, give people those fire extinguishers. And just another place to consider the fact that a strain with caryophyllene is going to have those anti-anxiety effects. The gastroprotective effects, may do some of that other promotion there where people that are trying to withdraw from things like alcohol or, other prescription drugs, gastroprotective may be actually some extra added benefit that we don't even have full-on application on yet. So exactly, guys, what do we do with all this knowledge, with all the terpenes? It's a lot. Well, matching terpenes to therapeutic goals is ideally the endpoint where we want everybody to get. How can we explain how the right terpene profile can influence the effective treatment for conditions maybe like anxiety, depression, or chronic pain? We saw some of those terpenes with those anti-inflammatory, right? Some of the terpenes with the pain relief, some of the terpenes with, anxieties, so on and so forth. Some terpenes like myrcene and linalool preferred for evening use, right? Maybe you'll use them during that time. What terpenes might you want to use during the day, right? Maybe limonene or pinene. So it creates, more tools in the toolkit for us to do so. However, when we're really thinking about, guys, like, hey, well, do we have the tool in the toolkit? Does every strain have its own testing for terps? And maybe it doesn't. And right now in the industry, maybe it doesn't always have it. But when we do know there's added terpenes, how to use them therapeutically, that's exactly where we can do that. And I wanted to break down also, when we're talking about added terpenes, the differences between, again, botanical terpenes and cannabis terpenes, right? So botanical terpenes are everything that's going to go into, whether it's pine sols or whatever cleaning agents that are out there in the world, plus, again, added back into cannabis extracts. So a lot of our vape pens where we see those added terpenes back in, and so on and so forth. It does come into a big account that we want to make sure that those terpenes are sourced from ethical places and that they're made and derived properly. But again, terpenes, just like other extracts, are distilled amounts of chemicals, right? So when you consider big commercial terpene producers and things like that, they're probably pretty good at what they do. And terpenes aren't necessarily the hardest thing to get once you actually got the science of it, right? You're boiling at a boiling point and you're distilling. So as long as those practices are clean, a lot of them are going to have antimicrobial properties, antibacterial properties in and of themselves, which is kind of interesting on the beauty of the terpenes. But again, you don't want, other things that you don't want to inhale in there, or too potent of concentrations of terpenes added into whatever mixes that, for products that are certified out on the market, probably 99.9% of the time right now, everything's going to be straight up and good. We just want to make sure that, again, if you've got whatever terpene added that is in a product, that we can match it. And there's going to be things that are hard, like when you see, a terpene that is like blue cheese or something like that, and we're not exactly going to know what the foundations of those terpenes could be. Sometimes you can go and look it up, and sometimes you can try to find that exact additive and see exactly what terpene of terpenes that they use to get a certain flavor. And again, at that same point, you still have those therapeutic effects. It would be great brands and manufacturers, so on and so forth, could actually put the terpenes in there. Because I mean, when the science comes down to it, it would be like THC or CBD. Of course, you want the entourage effect, your flavonoids, your terps, the whole thing when you're using the whole plant material. But if you were to just add in and use terpenes on the side, you could theoretically still get those therapeutic effects from terpenes in and of themselves, by themselves, isolated. So chicken before the egg, so on and so forth, where cannabis manufacturing and cannabis is so regulated, I guess. Isolating terpenes from cannabis is such a more expensive and difficult process in comparison to those guys that are probably making big commercial terpenes right now that can, even just sell out whatever terpenes that people are adding into their products. But when we get to that want to find and identify chemovars or strains that have particular terpenes, well, you have to look at the COAs. And the COAs have to have the data. Otherwise, you don't know. And that's okay to not know. It would be rather, we come at a situation where maybe, we don't have the COA of the terpenes, which isn't, part of New Mexico law, right? And maybe you don't have it, and maybe you're looking up at it says, Girl Scout cookies, between strains, and should have terpenes. That's about as far as you could go in saying anything, But again, guys, remember there's so much strain variation between the same strain all over town or the same strain all over the country that basically no two plants will ever test the same. You're going to see the most similar testing, obviously, with your grower, like with one grower, but you don't want to go over there and say, hey, well, I had Blue Dream from, Colorado, and it should be the same Blue Dream, terpene profile that's what I'm getting here. So we don't want anybody to think those things if you cannot specifically match those numbers verbatim. And if you don't know, it's totally okay. You can say, well, at least the primary genetics of the plant should have a mix of this. But again, we can perhaps, postulate that it may be a little bit of a different concentration based off of however that plant was grown, whatever environment was in, whatever genetic expression and phenotypical expression that plant decides to have based on its environment and how it responds to all of that. So obviously northern New Mexico, southern New Mexico, indoor, outdoor, there's so many different variables that you can put in there, guys. So again, one plant, one chemovar, one strain is not going to have the same terpenes from grower to grower, for sure, and for region for sure. So it's just such a big loaded game. So even though we know everything about the terpenes, right? We know everything about them and we know the top 5, maybe we might not know what's exactly in this plant. How can you dial that down a little better? Of course, smelling it when it's appropriate, right? And if you have that smell and you have that nose, you're probably be able to at least have a little better idea if it's going to have a citrusy smell or if it's going to have the earthy smell or combinations or smells of clove, so on and so forth, right? Again, wine snobs know exactly what's in the wine when the nose is right on it. So again, some of you guys with those powerful noses, absolutely, I know, I would trust somebody with a smart nose versus not. My nose isn't like smartest nose, so I'm not quite there. I can get little bits, parts of the head that comes out of there, but I'm not going to sit there and bet on my nose over somebody else's nose. But I've seen some people with those extra good noses for sure. So Joseph Dean, it's been my favorite episode so far. Terpenes are such an interesting topic. Thanks for the info. Thank you, sir, for watching. Appreciate your participation today. Anyway, so now that we're through the giant confusing part about terpenes, guys, let's talk about how to memorize terpenes as well, okay? Because, there's so many different parts here that come down to it. At least at the end of the day, if we know, a little bit of the different associations there and the therapeutic goals, we can thus help our customers have some better scenarios and put ourselves in the best, situation to give proper knowledge. So as again, the big thing that not necessarily study material, botanical terpenes versus cannabis terpenes. So somebody's, doing those terpene add-ins versus cannabis terpenes, they could be the same. They could be all in the same numbers, but we just want to know what actually is in the terpenes versus what they might have named a flavor, right? What combination of terpenes led to that flavor, and then we'll be able to actually dial in, hey, you might want to use this for X, Y, and Z, so on and so forth. And sometimes people pull old terpene extracts out of plant material. That can be a very expensive process, and it's like, gotta be careful about those too. So hemp-derived terpenes, those can exist, no problem. But all right, guys, talking about memory pegging. So for those of you high horses that got my message here, we're going to be going over just the concept here of how to improve our memory. So I'm going to pull this up, share it on screen. And this is just excerpts from a podcast, but I like that it had a picture about it too, because it was touching about it. So anyways, this was covering from, this was just a way that, just here from the world's fastest speed reader on strategies for improving reading comprehension and recall. So anyways, basically the technique here is take a list that link it to what you want to remember, and aka this can be individual for each person. I've compiled what I think is already easier to do, and I've created the memory pegs, and I'll show you guys how to use them here. Anyways, so you're gonna remember the list 1 to 10 or 1 to 5 for us, right? So 1 may look like, for instance, in this situation here, pole, or 2 is shoe, 3 is tricycle, right? So again, after that, using those numbers or associations, putting the imagery, thus bring it all together. And so we're going to look at how you do it. Anyways, 10 words we already know by what we call ridiculous association. This guy, Bob Proctor, could go into an audience shout out 20 things, he writes them down. For here, this is an example of how this guy would do it, right? Like a bottle of water, what do you associate it with? Run or watch, right? Telephone, right? So it's going down to some random associations, so explaining here, 1, run. The audience picked a water bottle to remember, and he'd say, imagine a water bottle running around the room. Or 2, zoo. Imagine a whole bunch of glass with lines. They were talking around them at the room. So again, this is based off of the original Jose Silva memory technique here of the memory pegs, but it's just applied all over the place now. And again, visual images to remember words. And the more ridiculous the visual image, the easier to remember. And all of a sudden, it's going to be just root and drill. So let's get into it, guys. So first one, with the memory pegs. Okay, you're gonna visualize the peg image in your mind and visualize the little story that's underneath it. So the first one, for like limonene, right? The image, I want you to see a cool lemon wearing sunglasses, limonene, cool and relaxed, nice sunny warm day. The lemon's coolness should remind us of limonene's anti-stress and anti-anxiety properties, and the citrus scent is obvious. So, cool lemon eases the mind with a citrus find, right? That's the phrase that you would think, which is interesting enough because, again, you're looking at the, effects of limonene, and where we're looking at anti-anxiety and the cool effect and the ease of mind effect, you would almost want to associate it with sedative effects, but it's not, right? It's not going to be uplifting. So again, limonene nice and warm. It's during the day, just chilling outside, relaxed, sunglasses on, easy. Remember that, right? Put in your pegs. Next one, myrcene. Superhero mango myrcene. Sounds like the mighty myrcene flexing its muscles. Mighty myrcene. So what does mighty myrcene need to do? Well, mighty myrcene needs to relieve their pain. Mighty myrcene working out all day. So, mighty myrcene needs to get those muscles relaxed, relieve their pain. Mighty myrcene needs to rest so that, Mighty Mercy could go work those muscles again tomorrow, right? So we're thinking about that, muscle relaxation, earthy comfort, just some big superhero mango, Mighty Mercy looks like Mr. Potato Head with a mango flexing his muscles. And ultimately, Mighty Mercy is so mighty that he needs to be able to relax, get that pain relief. Mercy in the downer. So hopefully that's a very ridiculous association for you guys to just visualize there. Just stomach that one in. All right, next one, pinene, a pine tree with a stopwatch and a thinking cap for alertness and memory. Right, so pinene, we see the pine trees, got the stopwatch, thinking cap. This guy's ready to go. He's prepared. Right, pine trees known for their pinpoint accuracy and timing and memory. Pinene's precision for memory and decision is your association phrase to remember. Right, so that's pretty cool. Pinene, alertness. I think that's one of the fun ones. Next one, linalool, guys. What I need you to remember here, a bed of lavender flowers. A bed of lavender flowers has a sleep mask and a pillow on it. This thing is ready to go to sleep, sedative and calming. You're like, wow, I am going to go to bed, right? So thinking about that, eyes closed, bone visualizing it. So what's the mnemonic? Linalool lullabies. Linalool lullabies, right? To remember its sedative effect and floral scents. Linalool lullabies lead to tranquil skies, right? Remember that song, Whiskey Lullabies? It's not anything tranquil. I think it means put the bottle to your head and pull the trigger. Anyways, linalool lullabies, on the other hand, lead to tranquil skies. All right, caryophyllene, last one, a peppermill wearing a doctor's coat, anti-inflammatory and protective. So, why is that funny? A peppermill's wearing a doctor's coat. I mean, we all think of Dr. Pepper, so you already associate pepper with a doctor, so this is just the backwards. Peppermill wearing the doctor's coat, so carry the pepper doctor to recall the spicy scent and the medical benefits. Dr. Caryophyllene prescribes a spicy routine. Right, so you start applying those medical benefits, make it ridiculous in your mind, do what you gotta do to remember it, and then go back to the cheat sheet, right? And then you're gonna chip back down on the cheat sheet, and all of a sudden you're like remembering things differently, right? So limonene, oh man, cool lemon guy, elevation, stress relief, antidepressant, anti-anxiety, antibacterial, antifungal, typical scent, citrus, lemon, orange, right? Myrcene, right? Sedation, muscle relaxation, analgesic, anti-inflammatory, sleep aid, earthy, musky, herbal with notes of mango and thyme. Pinene, alertness, memory retention, counteracts some of the THC effects, also a bronchodilator, opens up the lungs. Pine, rosemary, and basil. Linalool, calming, anti-anxiety, sedative, pain relief, anti-epileptic. The bed of linalool lullabies as opposed to whiskey lullabies, guys. Right? Are you not seeing it? I'm seeing it. Caryophyllene. Dr. Pepper, the pepper doctor, Dr. Cary, stress relief, anti-inflammatory, pain relief, may help with alcohol withdrawal symptoms. Caryophyllene, it's got the pepper doctor. Use it when THC is too much. Interesting, right? Right. So, again, bud tenders, what do we want you guys to do? Use these memory pegs, use them at work, talk about it ridiculously, memorize them ridiculously. Mr. Cool Lemon Guy, whatever it is, Mighty Mercy, don't forget them. Hopefully it's easier to remember. We all know hopefully a little bit more about terpenes now, and we can help pair those for our customers' needs in better ways, and identifying them in the products that do have them, and identifying situations in products that may not have them listed, and just knowing that, hey, well, we know that they don't have them listed. Even if I know whatever I need to know about terpenes, this doesn't get me where I need to be, so I can't make something up about something, right? And being transparent is also okay, guys, and that's where we're at with everything here. I hope this episode has been valuable to you guys. Last things last, hope you're seeing on red on below. Obviously, all of our team understands that Christmas specials are going all through this Christmas holiday, so Make sure that share that with your friends and family. Shop online, highhorsenewmexico.com, and yeah, keep pushing those Christmas deals. Gather up on your knowledge. Go over this with your teams. Do some visualization. I know we all wanted pictures. So I'm asking, now that I'm giving you guys pictures too, I'm also giving you guys mental pictures, right? Snap that image in your head. Our brains are so strong. We create such strong mental pictures. And we're going to just do that ourselves. And we're going to be the best. So you guys have a good week.